Hey guys, it's Max. I just got done shooting part 1 of my really detailed comparison of the Dell XPS 15, the Razer Blade with the 1060, and my MacBook Pro. This video has been a month in the making and I'm excited to get it out to you guys next week. It will go live earlier with ads disabled on Patreon, so if you have been considering supporting us, definitely go ahead and do that if you guys want to see that earlier. Plus there's a bunch of other extra perks, but I wanted to make this video on some of the new updates and some of the new details that were not announced when the GH5 launched. The info launched 2 days ago. I've been digging deep, watching tons of interviews, looking at the full spec sheet that I got my hands on, and looking at different articles and gathering all the information. There's some stuff that I was curious about that I found out about now, and some answers from the last video, and just a bunch of cool info. So I wanted to do a quick video and share that with you guys. If you guys enjoy these videos, hit that thumbs up button. I definitely appreciate it. So I'm gonna have some notes here just to make it a little bit quicker. The first thing that I want to mention is the 1080, 180 FPS modes. Now this was announced with the camera, I just didn't mention it, so for those of you guys that don't know, I do want to mention that. Very excited for this. 180 FPS is crazy, and in a camera that costs this much. I think the only thing else in the price range or anywhere close is like the FS7 for like 8 grand that does 180 FPS at 1080p. So I'm very excited for that. I do want to know if it crops in or what the quality looks like, because the 96 FPS on the GH4 did not look good. It looked like it was just upsampled from like 720 or even lower. So I'm looking forward to it, but 180 FPS is great. The next thing, I do want to mention that the 10-bit is not going to come out right at launch. It's going to come out sometime in April, so it could be a few weeks after launch or right after when the camera starts shipping. We really don't know, but it is said to be launching with 8-bit internal. Now, along with that, later on, sometime in the summer, we actually should be getting a 400 megabit per second mode, so much higher bit rates, and that is going to be all-eye compression. Now, what all-eye is basically each picture. So if you're shooting 24 FPS, it's going to have 24 individual stills. Now that takes a lot more room, but there are some benefits, and I think the big benefit is easier to edit. So if you're doing 4K, it's going to be easier on your system. Now, along with that, I have some really great news for a lot of you guys that want to use this camera on a gimbal, or you guys want to do video autofocusing. I saw an interview, and I haven't heard anybody else mention this, but it was a Panasonic rep, and what he said is the autofocusing reads at 480 hertz. So it refreshes the sensor that fast, super fast. Now the GH4 read it at 240, but it only focused every 6 FPS. So only 6 out of those 240 hertz is when it would actually make changes to the focusing system. The GH5 is refreshing at 480, and get this, it is actually making changes to the focusing 480 times a second. So each and every frame it reads, it can, if it needs to, adjust the focus. So what that means is if you don't have phase detection, which is what most of us wanted, but it could still make those changes much faster. So there's a chance we will get good video autofocusing. And I've looked at some of the footage that has video autofocusing, and it did look pretty surprisingly good. So this is how Panasonic may be getting around not using phase detection. Now, my question with this is this going to be just for the Panasonic lenses? They have their depth to defocus technology, and they mentioned that they improved it a lot. Now, are the improvements only for Panasonic lenses, or if you're using Olympus lenses or Sigma lenses for Micro Four Thirds, or using an adapter, is that autofocus going to be improved as well? If it's not, we're only going to get good performance with Panasonic lenses, which is fine, but it's good to have more options. And I do want to mention that with the GH4, the G7, all those Panasonic cameras, when it would track, I did notice that it would track the face really well. You have a line through the eye, and the camera saw what it needed to see really well, but the actual focusing would not adjust fast enough. It would not keep up, even though the camera knew what it needed to focus on. So this totally makes sense. Now, moving on from there, one thing I mentioned is possibly the ability to punch in to a 1:1 pixel crop to reduce moire and any other issues, and at the same time give you more usable focal lengths from a single lens. Now, in the deep detailed specs of the camera, they actually did list that you can punch in up to 1.4 times in the 4K mode. So this is basically, if you're at a 70mm equivalent, full frame equivalent, you can punch in and then you'll have roughly 100mm. So if you want to get a little closer to your subject, but you can't because your lenses zoom in, this is a great option. And if there's going to be any moire in the 4K footage that's super sampled, you can use that mode and fix that issue. So I'm very excited they're including this. And then you can also do this in the full HD mode, but it's like 2.7 times crop. So really crazy there. Now the low light. I thought the camera looked good and looked 2 stops cleaner, I should say. So instead of 800, which was my max usability for the GH4, 3200. And from the footage I've seen, this looks like the improvement. About 2 stops low light, and I don't want to quote it because I'm not doing side-by-side tests myself. But what's even more kind of important and what's even more noticeable is how clean the shadows look in some of the low light footage. So if you go to Newman Films, they have a video out doing some comparisons, and the shadows look really, really clean. This is a big issue with the GH4, is even at 200, the shadows have noticeable noise, and when you go up to like 800, the shadows are really noisy, even if your main subject looks good. In my opinion, this matters a lot, even more than the overall low light performance, because when those shadows are really noisy, it's really distracting in your video. The next thing is H.265 recording for the 6K photo mode. Now what that is the camera's going to be recording 30 FPS at 6K, and then you can choose which images you want and you'll extract it from that video. Now why this is important is because H.265 is twice as detailed in the same bitrate, meaning when you're pulling those photos out, they're going to be higher quality than if they would have just went with H.264 like on the GH4 or other Panasonic cameras. Now along with that, one of the Panasonic reps actually mentioned that 4K at 60 FPS is going to be H.265 recording at the same time. Now that is a good thing and a bad thing if it is true, because H.265 is, like I said, it's twice as detailed at the same bitrate, so that means we're not going to have a lot of compression artifacts in that mode. The quality is going to be better. But if you have a system that cannot handle those H.265 files, if you don't have hardware decoders, or if you're like me and use Final Cut, or if you have the free version of DaVinci Resolve or some other editing program, you're not even going to be able to edit those files, so you have to transcode them first. So it could be an issue. You may be transcoding, or unless they update those softwares, or you might have to pay for the upgraded version of DaVinci Resolve, which is much more expensive, obviously, than the free version. Or if you're in Premiere and your system can't handle those harder to edit files, that might be an issue for you. Now, along with that, we're going to talk about the 6K video. This is something that may come in the future. 6K video, which is going to be the full sensor, which is almost like a squarish sensor, the Micro Four Thirds sensor. And then you can use anamorphic lenses or adapters and then de-squeeze that to give a really nice high quality anamorphic video file, which is, like they stated, like the Alexa XT. So you're getting a camera that's just under $2,000 that's going to do great anamorphic quality. And they may allow this feature in the future. And then also, if you're not going to do anamorphic, if you're doing something like skateboarding videos, for example, where your subject can move higher and lower in the frame and you don't want to cut it off, you can record that 4:3 frame and then choose which portion of 16:9 you want. So this would also be a great, powerful feature. A short mention for the XLR microphone adapter. It's not only just a shotgun mic with some controls and stuff like that, it actually is putting out a much higher quality audio file into your camera, something that's not possible just plugging it in. So it's using its own preamps and recording a better quality file, which is good to know. And that's really going to be a great value at $400 for people that are going to make use of that higher end audio. And the last two things that are kind of a little bit disappointing is, one, Vlog will be additional purchase. It's not going to be included with the camera like Sony includes their S-Log. It's going to be $100, just like on the GH4. You're going to get a serial number. You're going to have to install that into your camera. And if you have a GH4, you cannot transfer that serial number, so you're just going to have to buy another one. Now, even more disappointing than that, the dynamic range has not been improved. So you had about 12 stops if you were in that Vlog, or about 10.5 regularly, and they haven't changed it. They said that they decided to focus on better low light and having a high resolution sensor, and if they wanted better dynamic range, they would have had to sacrifice the low light performance. And it is a bit disappointing. I mean, we do need better low light out of the small sensor, but the Sony cameras, even not in S-Log, they're definitely getting much noticeably better dynamic range than the Panasonic camera. So I would even say if Panasonic is getting 12 stops in Vlog, the Sony cameras just in their regular profiles are getting 12 stops, and then if you go up to S-Log you can get like up to 14. So that is disappointing. It is noticeable the difference between them, and the Sonys do great in dynamic range. So I guess it's just a trade-off, better low light or better dynamic range, and I chose to go with the low light. So thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions or any other information, I would love to hear that in the comment section below. If you guys enjoy this video, give it a like, and please subscribe and enable notifications for future videos. And once again, thank you to the patrons that support us on Patreon. We definitely appreciate it. And if you want to get to see some bonuses, some exclusive videos, some early releases with ads disabled, you guys can support us there, and there's other bonuses depending on which option you choose. And you guys can support us for just $2 a month, help us make more videos and better videos at the same time. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one.